So my cold water system in the van relies on the site water pressure, where the hot water system goes to a separate water tank. So I've got to have a separate pump for it. So I can put some of this red pipe in, but I'm still waiting to get a pump. I can just about see what I'm doing under here. Now I'm having a problem with this grommet. It's refusing to go properly through the steel. It's actually a double thickness of steel. I could have done with putting the hole a bit further, right up toward the back there somewhere, but there's a beam just here, so it's really awkward. But what I'm going to do is just push that grommet right down to the hole, and just what I've tried to do before, put some silicone seal around it and just adhesive it sort of thing round bottom. Okay, I've got that. I managed to get that grommet sitting reasonably tightly now. It's not too bad. I had to cut one face a bit off because it just would not go through. It's not looking too bad now. At least a bit close together. I didn't have a lot of option. So I'm just going to try and steer this pipe over here, away from that. And the pipe will bend over to the next place where I want to fit it, over to that piece of angle that I made. I've actually fastened that in the middle first before I fasten it up here. I've run out of these P-clips, these things, so now I'm just going to put the rib nut in, and then it's just going to have to wait until I get delivery. Well, I just had 2 rib nuts fail here, and I think it's the thickness of the underseal around here that's messing it up. Just try the 3rd time. I could have put that in a bit flatter, but I think it's alright. Okay, so from my hot tank, somewhere from there, I've got to fit a pump. Pretty close, well, directly from that line. Wherever I put that line, I've got to have the pump. Then after that, I've got to have a junction to take it to this pipe through the floor. Now, I'm not sure how long this pipe's going to be. I might have to put a beam across here, a piece of 2020, and attach the pump to that. So for now, I'm just going to leave this pipe like this and connect it up underneath. Okay, so now under the point where the water comes up, where I've just been inside, I'm going to cut this off, put an angle on, connect it to that. I put this rib nut on actually in the last episode, getting ready for this. These are sometimes tricky to get in, straight in, just to be awkward. Get in and stop being a pig. Yeah, you horrible swine. After I've checked for these, I'm going to be lagging all this hot pipe. I've got some of that foam stuff to do it. So, fasten it there, and that's it, I'm in. Right, this is my last job of the day. I'm trying to sort this pipe out the length of it. I've got it to the T-junction at this end. But I ain't quite got enough pipe left to connect it up to the sink tap. This is frustrating here because I don't know how much pipe I need to go to the water pump. So that length of pipe to there probably would do that bit, which is frustrating. But it's looking like I'm going to need a little bit more red pipe. Okay, I've been having a look at how to go on with this step, how to support it. I'm thinking about a piece of aluminium channel directly under that and cut it off here so that it's wider at the bottom, and then have the step sort of around the aluminium channel, so it's the aluminium that's actually supporting that, which is an expensive fix because aluminium is expensive, but at least it'd be lightweight, because how I had the step before was a bit heavy and it all adds up. Well, I've ordered a piece of aluminium U-channel to do this step. I'm a bit low on funds to order a pump just yet, so I'm getting on with some woodwork. This has needed attending to for quite a while. Got this made for here. Be putting 2 or 3 pieces up here and then tongue and groove downwards, so that'll keep me occupied for a while. That's first bit in. I've run out of screws to tie me the type I need to fasten these in, so I'll cut these to size, but obviously can't fit them in yet. But I can make a start on the tongue and groove next, so I can get on with that. So I've been getting on with the tongue and groove. This is obviously the slowest bit, is working my way around this alcove here. Just about ready to cut this one for the top. Okay, so the aluminium's been delivered. I've cut it to size. Now I've got to shape the wood around that bit, and also cut this floor out a bit more. Okay, yesterday I realised I made a mistake with this. When I raised this up a little bit, I didn't take anything off that. So I put this in after I raised this up and not realised it was holding the back down there a little bit while I was taking the measurement for the gap here to buy some aluminium channel. So unfortunately the 3-inch aluminium channel width is too big for that. I've corrected that, I've cut it down, it's all sitting nicely now. I've got some 2.5mm channel on order. Had a screw delivery, so that is fitted. I'm waiting for a delivery of screws to actually fit these tongue groove pieces. The screws that I've got are too big. I've been getting on with this. Fix this panelling to start fully lining behind this sink. It needs a little bit more putting up here. Don't really need support in there, that'll not get touched. It is supported behind there. So I've got that piece in. So now I just want a piece right in that corner, one under the side of the sink there. So as you can see, the pump's been delivered. I've got a bit of a problem as to where to put it. It's got to be the next thing in line from here, from this output, but it's where exactly to put it. I'm thinking possibly have a beam across here and fit it on there. Okay, if I look at this logically, for where this pump can't go, I can't really fit it directly on the floor. It just won't go. It must be either at that sort of height like that, or I'm thinking logically that's probably the best way. There's a good case for mounting that here. That might be good. Then I would have to realistically probably move that bus bar thing, put it over here somewhere. That might be best. Okay, I've cut the panel where I needed to. Bus bar's on. The cover fits okay there. It's just a case of putting it back in. Now that's ready to go in. When that's in, I really didn't expect to get that fitted in the van today at all. It's an unexpected bonus. It's a good position for it as well. So now I've got to put these two little connector and then connect that to the bus bar. And that's electric sorted out. This electric bus bar is controlled by a switch on the control panel over there. But I want, in case of nighttime emergencies, be able to reach an arm round and just switch off the water pump. I'm going to put a second switch under here. Thinking about there, should be fine. Right, it's pretty simple what I'm doing. This is just a piece of angle. Here actually a piece of channel this that I've cut one side off. But the two holes are to bolt it under there, and then this bigger hole is obviously for the switch that's going to go through there. It's got plenty of filing to do now to get it to fit perfectly. All that's done. It's not taken me that long, only about an hour and a half, a bit more perhaps, from scratch. Let's get it fitted in. Round the little switches in. I've mostly prepared the wire, it's just about ready. This was a regular red and black wire, but I've just put some heat shrink on it just to make sure it's identified correctly, because it's for the switch, so they want to be they're both red wires in effect. You can do them both black if you want. I've got the connectors on, connected it up to the switch, fasten it up to this 2020 here, and I'm just fastening it in along the floor, and it'll be to about here roughly. Okay, well that was a backache inducing job, it really was, but I've got it all done. Okay, I've just put a fuse in. Is everything ready? Fingers crossed. See what it does. Nice. That'll do me. Okay, so I'm redoing this step, lifting it up a bit. It's turning into quite a complex job. Slowly getting there. Okay, before I start putting this step assembly together, just to illustrate how complex a job it's become, I've got this piece here that I've had to add, which is, there's a rib here that ends there, so I needed to raise that up a little bit. Piece of aluminium goes under there. There's a piece of wood here to raise the level of that up to this. We've got 4 pieces of aluminium here. Then they'll need another piece, I believe, of plywood put on top of that before I can actually put the wood under here. It's just going to sit a little bit too low. So it's getting there, but it's just one more piece of wood to make to fill that out. I think a 6mm will do, and then the way I'll fit it after that, it's just a case of this will want taking out more if it sits up a bit more. So if it's a bit too high, I'll just have to take a bit more of that out, because it's the shape of this. So we'll see how it goes, but certainly one more piece of wood to make that. Right, I'm just trying a little step assembly for size. It's in there, as you can see. What I need to find out is which thickness is going to space it out perfectly. And this is actually, that's perfect. It'll need very little actually taking off this top of this wood to get it fit perfectly. Right, I can't finish this step for a couple of days because I've got screws in order to actually fasten it down to the wood, and bolts in order to fasten the actual stepping on piece down to the 2020 aluminium. I'll put these on, one at each end of that as well. And I want to do a bit more toward this. I've got some of this, plenty of this stuff left, so I want to make a piece that fits precisely in that space there. Just basically extend that surface a bit. Right, I can already see I'm going to have to order more of these inserts. I've basically got one left. The way I've decided to do it now, this one needs to come up to there. Might as well just put a longer piece of pipe in. So I'll put a bit of pipe in there, put that in. That's ready to go across there. This connected to that. I've just got to now, the only thing I can do today is actually change this for a longer piece of pipe. So I'm going to have to get underneath to disconnect it. Okay, so the last bit was fastening that pipe up, which I've done there. I've put a longer pipe in, fastened it there, but I've also just had to double check that this weren't anywhere near it. And there's a bit of compressed perspective here with the camera, but it's not actually anywhere near that. It's a good 4 to 5 inches away. So that'll do me. I don't know if it was in the last video or one before, but for this panel that goes here, I made this angle to stop the movement of this panel. And I'm thinking now, since I put a piece in here, a piece of this stuff in here to fill this space out, I can actually fasten this stuff using that rivet hole that I've already done. So that's pretty much my template that I need. So I shall get it cut. So this is not looking great at the minute. That needs to go in a bit further. this block behind here is not actually holding on anything at all. I've cut that back straight, but that's been held out by the curvature of that panel, so I'm going to have to cut that out there and then make, I think, a sort of more or less triangular piece for in that corner. Right, some screws have been delivered, fitting this step in, or at least the bottom bit at the moment. It's a little bit awkward because to fasten these bits down I'm using M6 sliding T-nuts and then put an M6 bolts in here, but these have to go in place first before the screws, or I can't get these in if I put the screws in first. So just in case planning it all out, I've got these inner ones done, just got to put these screws in now. I've not filmed myself cutting this down. I've taken that out with the Dremel, but I found that since I've done that, try this in place, that's too big a gap. I'll have to take more out of that eventually, but first I need to use something thicker instead of this 6mm and then go from there. I'm redoing these in 9mm. That one's done. I'm just going to drill this one. I'm all ready to go there. I'm just trying it for size. And that's too tight. Wants a bit more taken off there, but it's a lot better. That should do it. Right, more frustration. Since I've widened these, put a thicker spacer in, the bolts have to be a very precise length so that they're not too long to go in that groove. But with this being 4mm wider, the bolts aren't long enough. Okay, I've had this bit out, reshaped it, slackened this bolt off, shoved it up, and it's about as close as I can get it now. Okay, I've got that enclosure on. Also, slowly getting somewhere with lining this sink area out. I've changed that for a bigger panel, made it bigger. I'm doing these bits here in 2 panels instead of 1, just to fit it curvatures, and then I should just fill it up with silicone seal. So I just bought this Blu-ray player, 24 volt stroke 12 volt adapter. So this lead is not in very good condition. I was hoping to cut this up and use this just to connect direct to the fuse box. There's bearings and all sorts in it, so I'm just going to make I've got a couple of connectors on order and some wire, so I'll just make a lead up myself from scratch. So the fuse box is down this side under this seat. I can run a wire up here, somewhere up behind here, possibly just take one of these out to access it. I'm thinking there's going to be pretty good, and you can still use remote control from sitting down here. And what I'm looking at is this beam here. I shall fasten these, 2 of these, to that face, but these will obviously need cutting down a bit, possibly re-drilling, we'll have to see. Now this is a bitterly depressing sight with what I've had to dismantle. I've had to take this panel off here, wooden strips off here. I've got to put a HDMI cable in and route it to the back of here, but I have figured out how I'm going to do this, and I'm going to use actually 3 angles. One longer one at the front, actually a third one to make it more steady about there. It's going to have a panel here, wooden panel here, that the Blu-ray player sits on. So this main panel that I've taken out from here, I'll cut around that panel and make it a lot easier actually to route the wire in. I've got that in position, I'm looking quite good. Right, this is a couple of days after that last bit of film. I've redone this. This bit of dismantling here is not even a quarter of the story. The projector was cast in too far over to one side. The projector is a cheap one. It's got some certain advantages in that it's 12 volt and the more expensive ones aren't. But the downside is they don't autofocus that way, this way and all this. So it has to be kept absolutely plumb straight. It were off centre to that side, it needed moving off to that side a bit. And I'm currently on with that, but I've also got to mess about with power lines. I've had all this apart to put this HDMI cable through. I really need to redo this USB cable, thread it through and do it again. That's got the picture much more central in the screen. It's not perfect, but that is certainly much better, much more central. Right, so I've had another day dismantling. I've had all that out again, in order to put a power wire through for this. Now, I'd already got a power wire for this, because what I'm doing, this power wire a bit short, so I'm moved that to power the DVD player. That's actually this wire. I've run a new wire through for this. I've had to change the connector on this one because the DVD and the projector were different size connectors. So yeah, I've soldered that. It's a terrible mess. Okay, now show power. Get everything back together. Play it in. And might just settle back to half an hour, a man in a suitcase.